Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about how to get more confident about going to the gym. Starting with what to do if you're a complete beginner and working all the way up to Super Saiyan, gold-plated Batman level confidence. So I've trained at a whole bunch of different places, from CrossFit boxes in Cellars to beach gyms in Rio, and as the former editor of Men's Fitness, I've talked to literally hundreds of athletes and bodybuilders about how to get results with a whole bunch of different workouts. And if you get a second to comment, I'd love to hear where you think you are now and where you get to before you zone out of this video. Okay, so level 1 couldn't be simpler, and that is just showing up. Now, if you're completely new to the gym, this can still be quite tough. It feels like an intimidating, unfamiliar environment, and there are definitely going to be days when you get out of bed or you hit the snooze alarm and you really just don't want to train. And I get that. We were all there once. So at this stage, all you're going to do is try and build the habit of going to the gym regularly. Opinions vary on how long it takes to build a habit. One of the most widely cited studies says it's about 66 days. So the key is, the sooner you get started on building the routines that enable you to get to the gym, that's like packing your bag, setting your alarm, just getting out the door in the morning, the sooner the whole process becomes automatic. And then you can start fine-tuning it. You might find that a double espresso and a pint of water before you go out really helps you out. You can start working on a playlist that gets you hyped up. The key is, at this stage, you don't even have to worry about what you're going to do at the gym when you get there. Just show up, do 5 minutes of stretching, have a shower and leave if that's all you want to do. All you need to do is build the habit of showing up consistently. The rest will come. Okay, stage 2 of gym confidence is just understanding the moves you're doing and the set, rep, and rest schemes you're going to do them in. So when you start working out, almost anything will get you stronger, leaner, faster, or whatever, because you haven't been doing anything and any training stimulus is better than nothing. But what will make a huge difference if you get it right early is doing the moves correctly, and also being sure that you're doing them right is going to stop you second guessing yourself when you see what everybody else is doing. My advice would be to focus on the small handful of movements that are most effective. So for me, that would be the squat, bench, overhead press, deadlift, and a pull-up. And focus on getting your technique really dialed in on those before you start worrying about accessory movement. So when I first started lifting seriously, I read a book called Starting Strength, which just goes into an absolutely incredible amount of detail on like 4 of those lifts. If I was starting lifting right now, I would probably go straight to Strong by Science. They have an incredibly comprehensive series of articles on the big lifts, which I will link to in the description. Just a ton of details and explanation of why you're doing what you're doing. Just plan to read some of this stuff in your downtime. It will absolutely pay off in the amount of time it saves you in the gym later. And then after you've nailed those big lifts, then you can worry about accessory movements later. The key is to hit the big ones first because they'll give you the most bang for your buck, and also because they have arguably the most potential to go wrong and injure you. And then another useful thing to get your head around at this stage is the basics of what set, rep, and rest movements you should be using for whatever your goals are. And there are a ton of useful charts for this, but the basics are that anything less than about 5 reps builds strength, anything over about 15 reps builds muscular endurance, and anything in that range in between is kind of good for hypertrophy or building muscle. And then as for rest periods, the general rule is to keep them really short for fat loss, mid-range for hypertrophy, and longest of all for strength or power. If you're working near your max in the deadlift, you might be taking up to 5 minutes between sets. But if you're working for hypertrophy, you need to be much more strict and probably taking anywhere from about 60 to 120 seconds. Again, these are super basics, but a little bit of reading and research at this stage can really pay off in the long run. Okay, so level 3 of gym self-confidence is something you could do on your very first day in the gym, but it's also something that many people never ever do, and that is planned progression. So I really like this quote from Mark Rippetoe on the difference between exercise and training. Exercise is physical activity for its own sake, a workout done for the effect it produces today, during the workout or right after you're through. Training is physical activity done with a longer-term goal in mind, the constituent workouts of which are specifically designed to produce that goal. So in level 3, the idea is to get on a program that is planned to make you better over time. And that could be something that aims to make you stronger or faster or build your work capacity or make you more muscular. But the main thing is that there is progress from workout to workout. Now, strength training is one of the best ways to illustrate it because strength takes a long time to build, and so there are a lot of really good, well-established programs based around building it. And you should be on one of those rather than making up your own thing. And if you're new to the gym, then building strength is pretty simple. You go to the gym like 3 or 4 times a week, you do the same handful of exercises every time, and you aim to add weight to the bar pretty much every time you do an exercise. So that's called linear progression, and it's the basis of programs like Starting Strength, which is the program that got me from having never deadlifted before to a 185 kilo deadlift, which is pretty solid as deadlifts go. I was like 75 kilos at the time. But then at some point you'll have made all the gains you can from linear progression, which means that you need to move to a program where you aren't adding weight to the bar every single time you train. You'll be varying your rep ranges and backing off occasionally because you've moved past the point where your body can easily recover from every workout that you do. And this is how progress works with almost every type of training, whether it's like running or building muscle. At the start, things can be very simple because any kind of training stimulus is going to get you results. And as you get closer to your genetic potential, you're going to need to use more complex strategies and fine-tune the details more to keep getting results. So when you're picking a plan, keep it as simple as you can for as long as you can, and then worry about the complex stuff when the results stop. By doing that, you never need to worry about comparing yourself to what anyone else is doing in the gym because you know what you're doing is all in service of a long-term goal. Get on an established plan that starts you thinking long-term. I will link some in the description. It's super helpful. All right, confidence level number 4 is filling your quiver. Now, this is a term that strength coach Dan John came up with, and it just means expanding the range of exercises and exercise styles you're comfortable with, a bit like Hawkeye loading up on trick arrows before a fight. Dan suggests doing this because it gives you more variety and stimulus in your program, which if you're a really heavy lifter like him and a lot of his guys are, means you can kind of go for more workouts without needing to back off and recover because you're doing different movements which tax the body in different ways. But in terms of building gym confidence, the reason I think it works is because it gives you the ability to go into the gym and even if it's crowded, work out a plan that allows you to work on your goals, whatever they are, without worrying about waiting for a bit of kit on a machine. So I work out at a very crowded gym and I can't always get to the bits of kit that I want to. And while I'm always happy to ask somebody to work in or share a bit of kit, what I will sometimes do if the gym's really busy and it's really tough to do what I want to do is just improvise a slight variation on the workout I had planned, using like a different bit of kit, a different tempo, a different kind of exercise in order to work on the goals that I had for that day. So let's say I go to the gym and every single squat rack is in use and everybody's busy and working hard and I don't want to bother anybody. I might move to goblet squats or like double goblet squats for that day just so I can get my workout done uninterrupted. If I plan to do seated row and that machine's busy, I might move on to a slightly different exercise like a chest supported row or a bent row, something that kind of still works the horizontal pull but doesn't require that bit of kit. And it's important to think about this in terms of not just exercise selection, but things like tempo. So like if the only set of dumbbells you can find for the day is super light, you can still get like a great pump on for some hypertrophy by like really slowing the eccentric down on the movement, or by adding more reps than you were otherwise going to, or by like adding in a superset or a tricep to all hit the same set of muscles with a much lighter weight. The key is that if you keep reading and learning and expanding your gym knowledge, then you're never going to be stuck for what to do in the gym. Even if all you're interested in is hypertrophy, it's still fun to throw in some strongman movements occasionally to keep your fat loss from getting boring, or to like make sure you can lift big like a powerlifter would. And it all makes the gym more fun and it will make you more confident in whatever you're doing. Okay, confidence level number 5 in the gym is goal setting or goal smashing. Now there are 2 different sorts of goals you could go after in the gym, and I think it's valuable to have a few of both. And those are process goals and performance goals. Now performance goals are probably the ones you're most familiar with. They'll be the ones like losing 20 pounds or benching your body weight or like adding an inch to your chest or getting a 25-minute 5K, the ones that involve like numbers and actual achievements. But the thing about performance goals is that they are not fully under your control. Like you can train as hard as you can and sometimes they just won't come, or sometimes something will derail you, like you get an injury, things are hard at work and it messes with your recovery. Stuff like that, you won't always do them and it can derail you, it can make you feel less confident. And then process goals are the things you're aiming to do. So that might be things like show up to the gym 3 times a week for a month, do a mile run twice a week. But they could also be technique stuff like doing the same mobility work every time you train or learning the basics of the squat and sticking to them. And outside of the gym, a process goal could be something like learning to cook an omelette or doing your meal prep on Sunday every week so you know you're getting good quality protein-rich meals. Process goals are super valuable because under most circumstances, they're completely within your control. You decide whether you're going to do them or not. So like to look at this from another angle, my goal with this YouTube channel has never been to get 100,000 subscribers or 1 million views. It's been to post like 20 videos on a consistent schedule throughout the year. And then I've had sub-goals like learning the basics of editing and framing and making thumbnails. And then with piano, I've always had performance goals like learning specific pieces, but then I also have process goals like putting in at least 25 minutes of work a day, practicing a new piece at least once a week so I'm working on sight reading. Performance goals are the stuff that make you feel really good when you hit them. Process goals are what you do to get there. So when I started lifting seriously in my late 20s, My performance goals were a double bodyweight deadlift, double bodyweight squat, bodyweight bench press, and 12 pull-ups. And I hit all of those and I felt great. But the reason I did those is because I hit my process goals, which were lifting 3 times a week and doing all the stuff around it that meant that I was recovering properly. And the thing about combining these two types of goals is that you are teaching yourself that you are capable of anything. You know that you can put a strategy in place to get after something that you really want to do, and you will eventually achieve it. And internalizing that feeling that you're capable of setting a goal, making a plan, and working your way towards it and succeeding is something that will have massive repercussions inside and outside the gym and will give you massive self-confidence, I promise you. So show up, get competent, plan for progress, fill your quiver, and then smash some goals. And that is how to get confident in the gym. Let me know how it goes. Go train.